Welcome. We'll get started in just a minute. I'm the Chief Business Development Officer for A-List Partners, and we're going to be presenting today on an incredibly exciting development that we're doing on the North Shore of Lake Travis. And if anybody, who's been to Austin in the room? Austin, I grew up in Marble Falls, which is just northwest of Austin, and it is a gorgeous community. And Austin actually encompasses what we call the Highland Lakes. So there's lakes up through Marble Falls that spill down into Lake Travis. So if you picture it in your mind, we'll go through it here in a second, but Lake Travis is really the recreational lake in the state. And Austin, Texas is one of the most booming economies in the nation. So welcome, and we'll go ahead and get started. North Shore on Lake Travis, it's located in Jonestown, Texas. Now, Jonestown is northwest of Austin. So from downtown Austin, basically, if you take the lake right across the way on Lake Travis, you can get to where this project is. So it's a phenomenally incredible location. And as far as where Austin and really the majority of growth is taking place in Texas, this is the area that you want to be. So, you know, in motivational speaking, in life, in teaching, you know, we talk about your why. And, you know, why we work in a specific place, why we live in a specific place, why we want to put our money in a specific place. You know, my why has to do with 3 boys. I'm a single dad, and I have 3 boys, and my why dictates why I work with A-List Partners and Mr. David Owen, why I live in Austin, Texas, and why I love this area. So it's very passionate for me. Starting at a kind of a macro level, Texas is always the last state into a recession and the first state out of a recession. We have 10% of the gross domestic product in the U.S. is located in Texas. Fantastic place to be for business. Central Texas happens to be the strongest market for real estate growth, and basically in the top 3 perennially for places to be nationwide. So it's a fantastic place to put money. You have companies moving to Texas left and right, major headquarters. The area between Austin and San Antonio down the I-35 corridor basically splits from Dallas all the way through San Antonio. That's considered the golden corridor for real estate development. So year in and year out, the appraised values, even whenever we have really bad times in real estate nationwide, we're not affected as much as the rest of the nation. In fact, again, we're the last to be pulled into that kind of recession and the first to come out of it. So it's a fantastic place to put money into as far as real estate development. And Texas actually leads the nation in employment creation, something else that's key when you're looking at investments. Austin, Texas, highest unemployment rate, or the lowest unemployment rate in the nation. So it's got the likes of Apple, IBM, Dell, all these headquarters are there. They got major hub for Google. Best city to live in 2015. It always is in the top 1, 2, or 3 in terms of places to live. So Austin has just sustained continued and positive growth. I wasn't sure of this, so I actually did my research. It's the music capital of the United States. We always say that as Texans. It's like, we want to hear, Austin's the music capital. But I did the research, and most outlets out there put Austin as the music capital above the likes of Nashville, California, Los Angeles, New York. So you can do your research, but music is key out there. The other thing that's out there is fantastic education. Not only is there Concordia and Southwestern University and Texas State, which is right outside of Austin, the University of Texas is one of the greatest universities in the nation. And I'm an Aggie, so that's tough for me to say because Texas and Texas A&M are huge rivals. But Texas is at the top of the nation as far as that. So you have education, you have music, you have headquarters for major technology. Film industry is becoming huge in the Austin and Central Texas area. So it is the place to be in terms of major growth. So for investment capital, again, fantastic place to put your money. As far as the safety factor, we're on the very low end as far as risk, so to speak. So fantastic place to be, Austin. Now, getting into the specifics of the area, if you picture Austin or Central Texas, Jonestown is on the northwest side of Austin, again, right on Lake Travis. And this particular project has lake frontage. In fact, we have about 12 acres of property on the lake. It's a point, a beautiful point. You'll see some photos in a minute. But it's a gorgeous place as far as where we're going to put some commercial development there. And we really are in the heart of what Texas calls the hill country. So we have the Highland Lakes. It's in the winery section of Texas in terms of what's happening in Central Texas. There's amazing wineries all over the place, regardless of where you go. So again, think in terms of where would I want to put my money as an investment vehicle. This project is phenomenal. So Jonestown, Texas, I want to bring up the lead developer and one of the managing members for this project right now. He's going to explain some of the details of the project, and we'll get deeper into it. But you guys, this is we'll have an opportunity at the end to ask questions. And A-List Partners, we are the title sponsor for this particular event, so find our booth out there. There should be a flyer on the project in front of you, so any questions you have, please let us know. But right now I want to bring up Dr. Paku, who is actually the gentleman who brought this project to the table, okay?
Good morning, everybody. I know you're all sitting here thinking, why at 9 o'clock in the morning am I looking at Jonestown, Texas? Where is Jonestown, Texas? So some years ago, I had the same thought. And I was in Miami. Unfortunately, pretty much everybody here has seen where I lived because they were on every channel the last 3 or 4 days. You know, when Jim Cantori's sitting outside of your place, you're in bad shape. So my wife and I were looking for a safe, good place to move from Miami to somewhere, hopefully a nicer place with good schools. And we started looking around. And we found Jonestown, Texas. We leased a place on the beautiful lake, sight unseen. We never even visited the place, leased it, and it was the best decision I've made besides marrying my wife. So the great thing about Jonestown, Texas is that even though it is a small town, it's not really a small town. It is surrounded by some of the fastest growing towns in the nation. So you have Cedar Park and Leander, which are two mid-sized towns, which have both increased in size almost 40% in the last 5 years. You also have, obviously, Austin, which is a massively growing town, which has great diversity and a great economy. The great thing about this area is that we have everything from lakes, where we have big fishing tournaments, to the Balcones National Wildlife Refuge, which is a gorgeous 70 square mile approximately area, which is adjacent to this land. So how did all this happen? Well, I'm going to get into that of why this happened in a minute. Let me introduce you the development team here. Sorry. And then we'll get into why this happened. So I'm the managing member. I am a plastic surgeon. And I found this place because it was literally across the lake for me, and that's why I got involved. We also have Matthew Bavala, who's one of the managing members, and then after that, we have a very strong team. Our team consists of Sungkal Arjun, who currently has about $5 billion worth of forward-looking revenue and another $1.5 billion in the pipeline. They are in multiple states and have close to 25,000 lots that they're working on right now. We have our development lawyers, Steve Metcalf, and his firm is the #1 firm in Central Texas for development and entitlements in the area. Then we have the PID team, and I'm going to get into what a PID is because a lot of people here probably aren't familiar with a PID. But we have Rick Rosenberg, who's the managing member, and this group has raised $11 billion plus in public financing, not including all the private financing for projects in the region and across the country. Also, we have our engineers, Kimley Horn, which are a nationwide engineer firm, and they have expertise in all manners of engineering. And then we have our land planner, Sean Mask, who has worked with everybody in this team multiple times. This team has actually done multiple projects in Austin, and right now they're working on 3 projects that everybody's working on. And they've worked together and literally developed hundreds of millions of dollars worth of projects in the Austin area. So, what is this project? This project is a master plan community. We have approximately 3 tracts of land, which are about 369 acres. So we are basically splitting a major roadway, and that roadway has 300 acres up on the hills, and then another 57 acres on a nice flat area, and then we have the marina area, which is approximately 12 acres. We're going to put a 100 boat slip marina there, okay? Right now, the great thing, as you know, Texas is all about its boats, okay? Everything's bigger in Texas, and I came from Miami where we have yachts, but for some reason, people think that they can put a yacht on a lake here in Texas, and they really do. So we're going to have a 100 boat slip marina, which already has the permits, which is very hard to get. We're going to put 19 townhomes on the lake, and these are going to be gorgeous lakeview townhomes right on the water. We're going to put probably around 250 or so senior condos, okay? Unfortunately, my birthday is tomorrow, and I am now in that senior condo age group, which I'm not happy about. So, it's kind of a sore subject, shall we say. We're also going to put a hotel. What's interesting about this is that there's no hotels for approximately 10 miles, even though there's wedding venues, there's all sorts of activities that are done here. The Balcones Wildlife Refuge is a internationally known bird place. So there's a big demand, pent-up demand for a hotel, and so we're looking to put a hotel there, as well as restaurants and some commercial space, just over 100,000 square feet of commercial space. And we're going to put 580 single-family lots on there. What's interesting about this is the vast majority of the single-family lots are on the hill, and you actually can't see them from the road, but they can see the lake, because of the way the topography is. And then we're also going to, with all this, we're developing this in an eco-friendly manner, in a green manner. So we're going to have approximately 100 acres of green space and trail systems, which most of this will be given to the city to maintain. So I have to digress a little bit and tell you the story of how this happened. So I was looking at some land, and I came across the 300 acres, which was the first piece I looked at. And I go to my wife and say, hey, I'm going to go check this land out. She gives me a bill. I'm like, what is this? She's like, this is the water bill. Can you just drop off the payment? I'm like, what do you mean drop off the payment? Don't you do this online or something? She's like, no, you got to drop off the payment, okay? Or you can mail it. So we went and saw the place, and then we went to drop off the payment with my broker who I've known for many years. So I started talking to them, and it turns out that the city's growth was constrained by lack of a sewer system. So all the cities around the city have a sewer system. This is on septic. So for those of you who've never lived in a rural area or a semi-rural area, the problem with septic is that you have to have a field that drains the septic area. Okay, so you have a couple tanks, and then the field drains it. Well, why that is important is because you're on a pristine lake. That lake has very specific rules and regulations of drainage into its basin. So you can't put a lot of big restaurants or things like that because they can't have a big enough drainage system for the septic that will meet the codes to keep the lake pristine. There happened to be an agreement with an adjacent city to run a septic line to that city. The other people didn't know about it. This is how this whole deal happened, is because we realized that we could get we could get a sewer system and take everybody off of septic and therefore help grow the city. So, the city, when they heard that we were willing to do this and work with them, was all about it. They then told us, hey, there's a public improvement district financing which is available, which will help you put the sewer system in along with the roads and the water, so you won't have to pay for that out of pocket. So they're willing to sign for $31 million worth of PID financing. And that obviously is a massive bonus for this project, because that is $31 million that we don't, A, have to come up with, but B, we get that in the beginning of the project. So by getting that in the beginning of the project, we can put the big developments, we can run the roads, we can put the monuments in the infrastructure, so the project doesn't look like a project that's kind of piecemeal getting together. It's all there up front. And that's the big advantage of using the PID financing. So what is a PID? So a public improvement district is a economic development tool which was created in the state of Texas. There's various states have different manners of doing this, but the great thing about this is that the city signs on for it, but they are not on the hook for it. And why that's important, it doesn't affect the city's bonds. And so therefore the city's all for it because they get the added tax base, they get the improvements, but they're not on the hook for it. The land is on the hook for it. So what will happen is that we get the PID is financed, and we get the first draw, and then we have a 2 to 3 year interest reserve that will pay for it while we're building out the project. And after that, there will then be an assessment, just like your yearly tax assessment. There will be an assessment on each parcel of land in proportion to what is owed for the PID. So we, as the developers, don't actually pay it back, unless we're holding on to that land, but the landowners will pay it back. And the great thing is, they can pay it off at any time. Unlike a mud district or other sorts of taxation districts or special finance districts, where it can change in the price, it is a set number that they know, and so therefore we are competitive with the other areas around it with the total tax burden on the properties. And the great thing is about the city has to release the money because it's held by a trustee and not by the city, and as long as we do what needs to be done, it gets, the money gets deposited in our account. Okay, I'm going to show you the overview of the area so you can take a look at it here. This up here is where our marina is going to be. So, as I was saying, we have a 100-boat slip marina. Now, the great thing about this is that this boat slip has already been approved by the LCRA, which is the Local Colorado River Authority. Now, for the people who aren't from Texas, there is 2 Colorado rivers at least. This is not the same Colorado River that dumps, made the Grand Canyon. This is a completely different river, which is in Texas and starts in Texas and ends in Texas, okay? So because we have the permits, we also have a little water lease permit as well, and this permit will last the life of the project. So it's already there, and all we have to do is build the infrastructure, and we're ready to start business, okay? Obviously, we're gonna have some amenities with it, a bait and tackle shop with it, and a restaurant on the water. And there is a shortage of boat slips in the Lake Travis region at this point. So here you can see where the marina is going to be. And we actually have, at this point, there's actually a pump out station for the sewage for people's boats already there. And we actually have already a gas tank there on site for 8,000 gallons. So all that stuff and all the environmental issues, which are really big, have already been approved and are grandfather clause. So we'll build the marina over here, and then we'll have the bait and tackle shop up here, and you can see obviously it leads directly into the lake, and it is truly gorgeous. And as I said before, how I found this is I happen to live right across the lake, right over here somewhere, and I just stumbled upon it. So then we get to the 57 acres. Yes?
Is that a house on the top left picture? Existing house, maybe?
Right here? Yeah, that's a house. Good. They had owned part of the marina beforehand, that plot of land. So there's basically, this whole area was involved in it. And so the townhomes, since we're here, are going to be in this area right up here, in the lake. Yeah, there's a lot of houses here. And this is, the interesting thing about Texas is that you will have because of the way the zoning has happened, you'll have multi-million-dollar homes next to, let's say less expensive houses, shall we say, okay? So if you do a Google fly over this area, you'll see a massive mansion next to a very small house. And that's what makes this project so, what the city really likes, is because they want to have a planned unit development that makes sense and will make the area look fantastic, which is what this project will do. So, the 57 acres is on the south side of the big highway, and the 300 acres is on the north side. Okay, so they're basically almost all contiguous. So the 57 acres, we're going to put the 19 townhomes, which are going to be on the lake, the 250 condos, give or take, and then we're going to put about 82,000 square feet of commercial, which is going to have the hotel and the restaurant and some other commercial development. And this is a much flatter land than the other side. We're also going to put a baseball field on there as a part of the parks to keep the city happy, and other trails are going to run through there as well. The 300 acres. So 300 acres goes up a hill and is absolutely gorgeous. There's, the views are fantastic. There are a bunch of little lakes or ponds throughout the area, and we're going to build one of our amenity centers right next to one of these ponds, which is a fabulous feature. And what we're doing is we're going to maintain the way that it looks, the feel of the area, by hiding the homes. Because of the topography, we can hide most of the homes. So from going from the bottom, close to the road, where they're going to be smaller lots, 6,000 square foot lots, up to the top of the hill, where they're going to be acre plus to 2 acre plus lots, depending on the actual topography. And as I said, we're also going to have the commercial space, and we're going to have a lot of recreational areas, and so it's going to feel very rustic, even though you are in a city. So this is the actual layout of the area. So you can see that this is the 300 acres up here. The green area is obviously the green space. The bigger houses are going to be up here. And actually, what's interesting about this is that there happens to be an airport, it's a GSA airport right up here. So you can fly in and then sail out from our marina right here, okay? And then over here is 1431. This is the commercial area in the red, okay? This is the 57 acres over here. You got the townhomes over here, a lot more green area down here, and then marina over here. What's interesting is that this is the big city park over here, but because of the way the lake is, the water has actually taken over 2 of the 3 boat ramps. So they only have 1 active boat ramp at this point. Our spot is much higher, so we don't have to worry about that. And so the city really wants us to get this going so they have access for another boat ramp here. So, what are we asking for here? Okay, we are looking at a $13 million fractionalized loan. Okay, and the minimum investment is $500,000. The maximum investment is $11 million. Okay, what we're looking to do is you're going to have a first position lien here, and it's going to be a term of 12 months with 2 6-month extensions. And we are offering approximately, it's 11% annualized rate of return, and it is paid monthly back to the investor. And with a 2% of discount points paid at the time of closing. The closing is in 2 weeks, September 28, 2017. And please, we are helped by A-List, and they do have a track record, and David Owen is the managing partner of A-List, and he's been around for many, many years, and has a fantastic track record of making sure projects happen on time, and happen on budget.